Greetings and welcome to the Course in Being on the Gold Coast. Hello there, young man. How old are you? 7. Nice to see you sitting there. Today's session is called Living the Truth. And as you may have seen from the program, the last meetings that I gave was when I took the Course in Being to weekend meetings in Los Angeles, Hamburg, Amsterdam, and Olympia in London. And we did that in just under 1 month. Still, I'm man for the job, although I doubted it. In Hamburg, it was 30 degrees Celsius when we drove up to Brisbane Airport. And when we arrived in Hamburg, it was -1 Celsius. And I think I was a little enthusiastic and breathed in that lovely fresh air. And I got a cold. Still, it went okay. God was merciful, or life was merciful, and I was able to deliver, and I trust deliver the goods. Now today, living the truth, I'm going to talk about a few things. I wanted to tell you first of all about a fundamental of my teaching that's often overlooked. And of course this is in relation to your life, nobody else's life. Your life is the only truth on earth. So I'm going to talk about emotion there. I'm going to talk about how to dissolve emotion and what everybody's main problem is. Going to talk about will and how to invoke the will. The will, you'll notice I said. Not your will or my will. The will. I'm going to refer to mirrors. And then I think I'll talk about the human mind and the divine mind, or how to return the human mind to the divine mind. So to begin with, this basis of my teaching, which I first introduced to the public, is that all emotion is past. One way to tell whether you're living in the past is to see if I am emotional, I who am listening to these words in that body. If ever I am emotional, I am living in the past. So you'll always be able to tell. Now, of course, it is obvious that I can only drink a glass of water in the present. So my thirst can only be quenched in the present. It will never be thirst by thinking about a glass of water. In fact, that will exacerbate the pain of absence or of thirst of water, if I think about it. So whenever I am feeling emotional, which means disturbed, does it not? Then I am attached or relating to the past. The present is never emotional. I am never emotional in the present. For instance, if I am joyous, and I can only be joyous in any moment, can't I? I can only be joyous now. Because joy is always now. You can't be joyous in the past. If you think about when you were joyous in the past, you are emotional, because you are thinking about the past. If you were thinking how beautiful it was to be with your partner or someone else 4 days ago, that beauty, which at the time was in the present, when you think about it, is now in the past. And it will come back by the law and bite you. That thought about how good it was in the past will activate the past, and the past will rise up in you as an emotion of loss or absence, and I will suffer. I will get emotional and feel that I am bereft of that which I had then, now. Beauty, as I have frequently told you, but I don't have to tell you this, I tell you only so that you can see it in your experience. Beauty, like drinking a glass of water, which is beautiful, isn't it, in the sensory sense when you're having it, is now. It is not emotion. To have a glass of water when you're thirsty is to say, that's good. Ah, lovely. That's in the present. There's no past in that. But if I were to think about it next minute, I would put the glass of water, the delight of it, in the past, and it would become, the past would become emotion. That delight would then be emotional. Beauty, joy, wonder, privilege, gratitude, sweetness, love, tenderness, rightness, truth are all in the present. There is no emotion attached to them whatever. If there is, you have put whatever that facet of truth is in the past. From this it follows that if all emotion is the past, then all thought must be of the past. And the reason for this is that all thought comes out of emotion. All thought arises from the past. And the thought tries to find the cause, tries to find the cause of the emotion that gave birth to it. Tries to look at everything but the real cause of the emotion. Because thought will never eliminate itself. So it looks at 99.9% of all reasons, thinking, what is the answer to this? Where do I come from? What is the solution to the universe? What is this law of love? What is the law of science? Always looking for red herrings, because it can never eliminate itself. So thought will never, ever lead you to the truth. And you can say to me, as many people do, isn't it good to reflect on what I have done, what I did, and learn the lessons from that? And I say no. that is not good, even though in your experience it works. It is not good because things have moved on. I have brought a new energy, a new teaching to this earth. And you are frequently with me, many of you people here. And it is only a habit that you have got into, a selfish, emotional habit of needing to go over what you had done to learn where you went wrong. That's a habit. It is not the truth. There is no need to reflect on anything whatever that I have done, because implicit in my mature experience of my body and my being is the knowledge of what I have done. I must give up this thinking thing, this reflective thing, this thing that wants to find out why I was emotional in the sense of thinking about it or looking into it. The only question is not in the past. There is no question in the past. The question is, am I emotional now? That's the only question. If you try to look at why you were emotional yesterday, or what the source of your emotion is now, in terms of going right back into your past, you'll get lost. Then you will have to go to the psychologists or the therapists or someone to help you out. When you are responsible, or when I am responsible, I do it. So the question is, am I emotional now? And the question then is, what am I emotional about now? Not yesterday. What am I emotional about now? That will reveal the emotion that is in my body, the emotional symbol, whether it be my mother, my father, my job, my accommodation, my striving to find God, whatever it is, that will reveal the emotional symbol that is living in my body. Of course it won't be my mother. That's silly. My mother, I don't even know where I've got a mother if she's not here, because that would mean I'd have to think about her. And as I've said, all thought is in the past, and that is ignorance. But my emotion about my mother is a bit of living past that is in my body now if I am disturbed about my mother or I have not got it right with her. That's living me, living self. That's what you have to face. If I am disturbed or emotional now, what am I disturbed about now? And that leads down into my own self, where I can locate a little blob of past, living self that is saying, I am unhappy. And if I keep looking at that living past in me, it will reveal itself. I am unhappy about my mother, my father, my dad, my job, my relationship with something, or my lover. Then I have to be very, very honest, which is another unique thing that I have introduced to this world. Honesty. Then I have to be very honest. And I have to say, what is wrong with my relationship? What am I doing? Where am I not giving? Where am I expecting or taking? That takes great honesty. Because myself, my mind, won't be honest. It will avoid identifying that. It will try to find all other reasons, but won't find the cause of its own, or the source of its own destruction. Now, before I go any further, we should go in to the source of this honesty. For I cannot tell you how to be honest. I can give you signals. But I have to take you in your own experience, to the source of honesty. And I, who am listening to these words in that body, whether it's through the presence here at this meeting or through this tape that's being made, I have to be willing to descend into this place of honesty inside my body, which is called me. It is the most intimate place inside the body listening to these words. The place that I, in that body listening to these words, call me. This is where I feel everything. Joy and sweetness, beauty, love of life. Also pain. And to get into this place with my attention, with my perception, I have to sometimes pass through or go past, go around myself, my emotions. Now, all unhappiness is in myself. There is no unhappiness in me where I am going to lead you in that body. There is no unhappiness there. This means that myself, which is the troublemaker, which ruins the beauty of me that is in everybody, this self, this pain, is on top of me. And its name is emotion, and therefore its name is past. Because you are with me, and because you are willing, I, who am listening to these words, can go immediately down into me, into this splendid place where there are no opposites, where it is all sweetness and light. Whoever heard of such a thing? Well, that's it. There is no opposite to the clarity, the sweetness, or the light that is clarity and peace inside of me. There is no opposite. All opposites, that is, where there's the thought of beauty, which has an opposite such as ugliness, all those opposites are in myself. And that self is going to endeavor to stop my attention from uniting with me, the reality inside my body. So the only thing that's going to get in the way is myself. For the one thing I have brought to earth is the very easy knowledge that myself is not me. Thank God. So let me introduce you to me. First of all, to get rid of the air that has been lying in the bottom of your lungs, which gathers past, like everything substantial gathers past. I ask you please to breathe out immediately, right out, and then when you breathe right out, you will have to breathe in the presence. And do that 3 or 4 times into the belly or the diaphragm. And keep the corners of the lips up and enjoy breathing in and out, because it's lovely. Enjoy it. Why again do I ask you to enjoy breathing in and out? Because when I enjoy anything, I make it conscious. And as it is my body breathing, if I enjoy my body breathing on these occasions when I do it, because I can't always enjoy it, I can't always do it to enjoy it, but when I do it, I help to make my body conscious. I help to make my life conscious by enjoying this simple act of breathing. And I would enjoy if you all enjoyed being here. For you see, if you enjoy being here, even though yourself would rather be doing something else or wants to think about something else, if I in that body enjoy being here, then I am making being here more conscious. It's as simple as that. And the more I start to enjoy every aspect of my life, so my whole life starts to become more conscious. It's as simple as that. Close the eyes, please. I'll just give a demonstration, though, of what we are about to use. I ask you to open your eyes, please, and look at the speaker. You will notice you are using your attention, your intelligence, or your perception to look at the speaker with your eyes. This is clarity. For if you were thinking, as you look at the speaker, you will not see the speaker clearly. You will see a smear of thought over it, or you'll be only able to half see him, to half consciously see him. So this is your clarity, your perception or intelligence looking out of your eyes at the speaker. I am going to use that to look into my body, to look into me, this very clarity. So I'm going to cut it off now, close the eyes, and I'm going to focus that attention down inside my body, but my body, of course, disappears, because if I was looking down inside my body, as everybody describes the body, I would see some lungs and some heart and some kidneys and all the rest of it in there, like the doctor sees. But of course, that's not the truth, is it? That's still what is seen by the eyes. That is still a sense-perceptive vision. I am using my intelligence, my attention, to look into me. Me who feels the steadiness, the sweetness or the rightness of just being here. I am looking into another world to the doctor's world. I am looking into a sort of nothing. I might say it is black. But that's only because there is no starlight in here, there is no light. Really, it is nothing I am looking into. Now the mind, the human mind, cannot stand nothing. It can't stand looking at nothing for long. But I am asking you to look in here and see nothing. Because as I can see nothing, it follows that I become nothing. And this is how I clear my mind. I clarify my consciousness. I take the past, the movement out of my consciousness, my attention, by looking at nothing in here. This is where I clarify my mind. This is where my mind gets the power, in the first instance, to see straight. This is where it gets an equilibrium, a steadiness, a one-pointedness. That when the time comes for me to look into myself, or into my living life outside, I will be able to see straight and clear, because there will be nothing in the way. So keep looking into me. I am looking at nothing. I am being nothing. Now here, in the stillness and the silence, in the being of nothing, here is where the tortured human mind or emotions will start to become disturbed and endeavor to produce something for my attention to look at. In looking into me like this, in seeing nothing and being nothing, I am using my consciousness. Consciousness can only be used for this purpose, to look inside. My human mind, which is the mind of awareness, and awareness can only be focused on the visible things of the senses. My human mind, when it comes in here, will be looking for something with its awareness. And here I am, using my consciousness, which alone can see nothing and be nothing. So I will notice my human mind with its mental awareness, endeavoring to project into this stillness and silence something to catch my attention. And that something will be a thought. For a thought is something, isn't it? That's the red herring The human mind always throws red herrings left, right, and center. Anything to distract my beautiful clarity from joining me, the Most High, which is the most descent into me. Now the human mind is connected with the pain in myself. So therefore any thought that I have will start off to be about nothing in particular. But don't worry, it won't be long before it latches onto some emotional problem and then leads you a merry dance out until you wake up that you have lost me, that you have been busy with yourself. So come on back. Look into me. Relax. Be easy. Give up. Enjoy looking into me. Seeing nothing. Now we have another option in going into me like this with my attention. The option is to feel the good that is inside of me, the peace or the sweetness or the easiness or the well-being that has no opposite. This I can truly sink into. And as I sink into whether it is right to be here as a feeling, as I sink into the feeling, it is right to be here, and it is good to be here. As I sink into that, I may be aware, way out on the perimeter of my consciousness, I may be aware of my mind trying to throw in some thought, but because I am focused on me, on nothing, or on the feeling that this is right, that I am coming home, the relief, the blessedness of it I will be able to keep the thought way out there without trying. For thought cannot cross consciousness. But it does not mean that I am not aware of it, endeavoring to subvert or seduce me. Now, what is happening here? My attention, am descending every second into me. There is no end to the depth of me. It just becomes more silent, more still, more real, in its absence of anything. What is this descent? What does it mean? It means this. If I truly descend and am going down, or in, I will feel a relief. I will feel, sooner or later, that I am going home. Because my attention came out of this place that I am now going into me, descending into me. My attention came out this way and became engrossed in my physical awareness. But I had to pass this way, upwards. And now as I do this, I get the sense, the knowledge, I am coming home. This is the truth. The mind cannot explain this. The mind cannot even come in here, cannot analyze it. The mind is right out in the perimeter there. Perhaps it has totally disappeared. In here is the source of clarity, honesty, love, rightness, my true being. The black, the deep, out of which I come. Do not leave me. Do not think. If I go deep enough into this stillness and silence inside of me, I reach a place that is called God. I will have no doubt when I reach that place. But before I reach it, nobody can ever describe what it is. But this is where that God that so many have tried to find, this is where it is. And it is accessible to my consciousness, listening to these words. But if I use my awareness, my mental awareness, which is what I use whenever I open my eyes and go about my daily business, if I use that, I will never ever enter this place. That's why no scientist has ever found the secret of life, and never will. For this is life in me. I am life. If I start to nod off, it is a good thing to take some more breaths deep into the belly or the diaphragm. For in descending into me, I am taking my awareness, which travels behind me, through areas of the subconscious where normally I go to sleep. And so, in some people it induces a sense of the need to go to sleep. There's nothing wrong with that. Just take some breaths. Now, let me repeat what I am doing as I listen to this. I am either looking into the black, into the nothing that is me, seeing nothing, therefore being nothing. Or I am using my feeling, where I feel what is good, what is right, that it is right, that it is good in me. But then, sometimes I will lose consciousness of my body, because my body is a product of my awareness. So as I go into me, leaving my awareness behind, leaving my mind, my human mind behind, I go into me, my body, the shape of it will disappear. Then I will notice on the perimeter again, for on the perimeter it does not disturb me. On the perimeter I will notice that my mental awareness, which is my human mind, my imagination, will reconstitute parts of my body. And I will be drawn to an arm or a leg. And even my mention of those words is likely to create the tension there. But my awareness will be endeavoring to recreate my body in its desperation, because it cannot stand to be no body. but I who would be me, I who would unite with God, I who would be the Most High by descending into the most deep. I must be nobody, yet I must not try to be nobody. It necessarily follows. If I will only focus on me, it happens. It is. It is important that I notice these things that the speaker is mentioning, so that I know myself. Myself will try to make something of me, and it cannot be done, for I am nothing, and I am being nothing now, in that body listening to these words, as I focus on me. And myself will try to make something of me, by thought, or by imagination of the body. Stay with me. Do not fight the mind. Do not fight the thought. Stay with me, and the thought will stay right out on the perimeter and disappear. I am clarifying my mind by doing this. I am ridding my mind of its attachment to myself by focusing on me, who is endless silence and stillness and depth. Myself is not me. Myself is the troublemaker, and me is the peace, the never-endingness that I have always longed for and thought I wanted to be myself instead of being me. This, in the first instance, is living the truth. I am living the truth by being me. Now in your own time, still staying with me, don't leave me. Keep the consciousness on me, which is quite easy to do. It is your right, it is your consciousness. Keep your consciousness on me. And open the eyes and enter the world of mental awareness. Enter the world of the senses. Two different worlds, absolutely different and yet connected. For the whole world comes out of me. Where I have been, like the salmon, swimming down against the stream of life. For the stream of life comes out of the depths of me. It is flowing every instant. Now, as I look into me, I am looking into the stream of life. It is that life flowing up out of me that passes through a blockage. The blockage is the human brain. It passes through the human brain, which then produces a sensory representation of the life, of the pure life that flows through it. It divides the life up, the power of life. It divides it, which is utterly impossible, of course, except in an illusion. It divides it into what I see, divides what I see from what I hear, divides what I hear and see from what I taste, divides what I hear and see and taste from what I touch, feel, and then divides what I hear and see and touch, feel, and taste from what I smell. I mean, this is ridiculous, but this is true. We now have, where we only have the sense of life flowing up, we now have at least 5 senses, all apart, all individual, because I can lose one after the other. This is ridiculous, yes. That which is one, which is unified, through the blockage of the human brain, becomes divided into 5 senses. Let us say 5. My 5 senses then produce the entire universe. The flow of life, of course, produces it all, the movement, but my 5 senses produce. And as soon as I lose my 5 senses, the whole universe disappears. But the flow of life doesn't. For that is called either sleep or death. Death and sleep are not dependent on the 5 senses. That's because, as you can see, I who have been going into me just then in that body, am going into the one sense of life, leaving the 5 senses behind and the mind that goes with them, and with one sense, travelling down the stream of life into greater silence and greater stillness. As I say, like the salmon swimming home. Do I not get a sense of coming home? Every one of you here is drawn by this enormous magnet called me. Like the salmon, I cannot resist it. I must come home. Even tonight, in less than 12 hours, I shall return to me. In less than 12 hours, I will be unable to stay here any longer in my divided senses. The energy is too terrible to support my existence in these senses. So I shall need to go home. I shall need to go towards home to get some nourishment, to get some blessed relief. For this is a sucking, dreadful drain on me in the sense of supporting it from my brain, my mind. So tonight, I shall go blessedly, I shall seek to go home again, as close as I can to home. I shall lie down in my bed blessedly saying, without saying anything, oh thank God, and I shall go to sleep. And I shall pass through back, just like we did just then. I shall pass back through the self, through the pains and the problems, which is called the dream state. And I shall work off certain frustrations through that state of dream state, where I am not dependent on such a awkward and cumbersome thing like a physical body to get from here to even 100 yards away. I can do it much faster in my dream state. So I can work off some of my frustrations of being in existence very quickly. And then, blessedly and by grace, I may descend into deep dreamless sleep. Into me, into the depths of me. There I shall be nourished, as I am never nourished at any other time. But then, while my blockage is still existent, I will be drawn up into existence by the magnet of existence. I will be drawn to the unfinished business which is my life. For the magnet of my life, which is unfinished, will pull me up out of the depths of me, into my divided senses, into my circumstantial life. I will then know an enormous drain on my energies. I will be fresh and beautiful when I wake up, perhaps, if I haven't got too much self-burden in me. I'll be fresh and ready for the new day. By the end of the day, I'll be seeking blessed relief again to go into me. But to the degree that I can do this with the speaker, and then do it on my own, I will find a new dimension of energy, vitality, nourishment comes into my life, into my body being. For I shall be nourishing myself in the midst of the burden of coping with this enormous sustenance of existence as myself. And that's what we're doing, isn't it? Now, I mentioned about the human mind and the divine mind. These 5 senses that we have, the mind is connected with each of them. The human mind is necessary to unify, to bring them together in some sort of cohesive way. And this is how the human mind works. I see this, and then I'm hearing that. And my mind goes from what I see to what I'm hearing to affirm what I'm seeing, or what I'm hearing to affirm by what I'm seeing. Now, because my hearing and my sight are separated, are a distance, my mind has to travel some distance. So it goes disjointedly between what I see and what I hear. Then I'm also smelling, because I need to smell to affirm what I see or what I hear. So my mind goes and checks what I'm smelling to see that that is consonant with the rest of what I've seen so far and heard so far. So it goes to what I'm smelling. And then there is a touch feeling. And so my mind then relates to my touch feeling, which concerns whether I'm hot or cold, for instance, or whether I'm touching something. And my mind then goes choo, 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 4 times so far. And then to my taste, or to my sense of hunger, or to my sense of balance. My mind is checking every moment if my sense of balance is all right, because that's another sense that we hadn't thought about, isn't it? And then there's the sense of walking. And my mind is checking all the time that the sense of walking's okay, because if I falter, it goes like this. So the mind is disjointedly checking not just 5 senses, but perhaps 8 or 9 or even 10. But it can't do it all at once. It has to fast. You know how fast the mind is? As fast as it is, it still has to cover the distance between what is seen and what is heard. And all the other senses. And so it is a disjointed sort of a pattern. And that absorbs enormous energy. It's very, very tiring. But that's the awareness, the mental awareness that we are. When I go into the consciousness, like I have been doing in that body listening to the speaker, a totally different dimension occurs. I don't have to disjointedly relate to all these senses. I relax into the sense of senses. A wondrous new place where I give up this enormous use of energy. And I start to discover, this is lovely. But then the mind says, I can't believe it. No, you can't do that. You can't believe it. What about the life? And it's out here. You can't do that. Look, you're escaping. You're running from it all. And see, the mind's busy. It can't let you do that because you're going to give up the mind. So I go into me deeper and deeper. And the deeper I go into the mind, into my me, the more panic-stricken becomes my mind. It says, what about me? And I say, you're not me, you're myself. Well, it says, I don't care, I am myself. Yes, what's happening to myself? To me, no, you're not me, you're myself. Yeah, well, I don't care what you call me, but what about me? Doesn't it do this? Please don't let go of me. Please, please. Don't leave me, please. Isn't this the truth? And then it throws up images to pull you back, pull the attention back. Anything it will try. Anything. So that my attention will come out of me and come back into this troublesome self, this troublesome human mind, which never stops moving. You try it. Why is it that I don't leave you very long when we go into me? Because I know the mind, I can hear the mind starting to tick over, starting to throw up its red herrings. So I come in. And while I'm talking like now, you can be focused on me. But if I leave you alone very long, your mind, the magnet of the mind, will pull you up. But just by doing what you're doing and listening and being with me, you are doing it. You are going deeper every second. For I come from that place. I come from that deep, deep place in me. And there's only one me. There's not 5,000 million me's, like there's 5,000 million bodies on this earth. There is only one me. And if it was said, how is this possible? It is possible like this. That if there are 10,000 puddles by the sea, reflecting 10,000 moons on a moonlit night, I ask you, how many moons are there in the heavens? Only one. 10,000 puddles. Only one me. The mind, of course, cannot believe this. The mind cannot realize this. It is utterly impossible for the human mind to realize this, because it is always moving, always relating, always trying to analyze, trying to explain, trying to rationalize. You can't rationalize me. I can only be me. Now, the difference between the human mind and the divine mind. You will notice that I said that and in your own experience, that as I go into me, there is more silence, more stillness. The deeper I go, the more silent and still it becomes. The more I come out of me, the more movement it becomes, until eventually I come out onto the surface of the earth through my senses, and I have all the movement of the cars and everything that's moving, and I have the movement of my mind trying to make all the connections, and then I have the movement in my subconscious, which is just inside my body, related to all my lovers, my problems, my mother, my father, my accommodation, and all my difficulties in my life. All that movement, all the time, never ceasing until I blessedly go into sleep. That is the human mind. Deep down inside of me is the intellect, the pure intellect. The pure means clear. The pure intellect does not move. It is a magnificent, reflective presence. It is really the presence of God. It is what everybody would call, if only they could see it or realize it, God. A beautiful, pure, reflective presence that is not a body, no body, just presence, like now inside of me, listening to these words. It never moves, never can move, never needs to move. It reflects everything that ever can be, ever was, ever will be, in its absolute stillness. All knowledge is implicit in the pure intellect, so I, who am connected with it, do not need to know anything except what I know. I am informed every second by my pure intellect what I need to know, so I have no doubts, no fears, no wanting, no trying. And yet, I am still not as pure as the pure intellect, and I never will be, whoever I am. But I make the point. The pure intellect is the mind of God that never moves. And I have asked you to focus into the black, into the deep, to focus towards the extraordinary magnet, the inner magnet of the pure intellect, which is the mind of God that is pulling everyone here in and will continue to do so until the day you die. And I ask you, with your attention, with your clarity, to look towards me, towards the pure intellect, and see nothing. For that is purity. To see nothing is to be nothing. That is purity. What I look at, what I can stand to look at, I become. The more I can stand to look at nothing, to look into the distance which is me, not looking outside, not looking at anything, not trying to understand, just looking into the immediacy of me, I am purifying my mind. My mind, my human mind, yes, up here, in the self, always moving, always trying. Smearing your intellect, smearing the intellect, a great movement in front of this beautiful, still, magnificent purity. Does the human mind want to know? What's it about? What is this purity? How deep is the purity? What is God? Does God exist? Does God not exist? How wide's the universe? Where did the universe begin? It's like saying, how did my mind begin? Right? Fancy the mind saying, how did the universe begin, when really it's saying, how did my restlessness begin? Why do I need to know how the universe began? Because I'm restless, because I can't stand to be pure. But you can. You people listening to this tape or being here, you can stand it. And I am here to direct your attention towards me, the most deep, the most high, which is only me inside that body. So to purify the mind is to make it more and more still. And as I purify my mind and make it still, I make it more like the mind of God, a brilliant intellect, not like the scientific intellect. That's not brilliant. That's clever. God is not clever. God is brilliant. The intellect, the pure intellect, is brilliance. As I become towards or approach this, which is accessible to me who is listening to these words, absolutely accessible to me listening to these words, because there is only one life that is real and true, and that is the life in my body listening to these words. That is the only real life. No other life, there's no other life but that life. And this that I am speaking of is absolutely accessible to my attention who am listening to these words. The only thing is, how much do I want to be myself? How much do I insist on being myself? That's the only barrier to being me. For we have learned through all the teachings, through all the masters, we have learned to be myself. When I tell you the truth is, not to be myself, for God's sake, to be me, and separate from myself, which is the cause of all my problems. There is not one single problem that anyone in this room has or ever will have that is not caused by myself. And myself is a pain. Myself is every pain that I have had since I was born, emotion. Every emotion that I have ever been through is in my subconscious, just underneath my mental awareness, just inside there. That is myself. My body is beautiful. My body was made by God. Every body is beautiful. But when myself gets into the body is made sick, ugly, tormented with disease and problems, all caused by my stinking self. Whereas my body is beautiful. What a beautiful thing. If you've got a heart, isn't it beautiful the way it just keeps beating? If you've got kidneys, all that myself has exposed my kidneys to, all the ignorance that I have put upon my kidneys and my heart, it's still the body which God made, still delivers the goods. Amazing. But myself, it's the only thing that ruins my body. That's all. My emotions, my past. My body is present. You know, my body is present past. Here it is. It's the product of yesterday's meal and air and water. But it's present now. But what is myself? All yesterday's pains, trying to get some comfort through my beautiful body, propelling my body towards this person or that person because I want them to give me something. I think that you will ease my dreadful pain in my subconscious, which is myself, because my lover left me 4 years ago and has left a great insecurity in me. And I think that you'll give me something to fill that hole. So my love of you is selfish. I already want you to give me something. You will never, ever be free while you live to take, to get. Freedom comes from giving. And the only thing that you can ever give, or give up, the only thing you can ever give up is yourself. But what we do most of the time is give ourselves, our emotions, to others and to situations, instead of giving up ourselves to others or to a situation. Right. I think I've touched on some of these subjects already. Yes. Yes. As you know, I teach getting your life right as the reciprocal of going into me, where you purify the attention, the mind, get it more clear and honest by going into me, get it more like the divine mind. And then you can look out here, and you can look into your life with a clarity and honesty and see where it's not right, and take practical action to get it right. Not thought. Practical action where your life is wrong and making you emotional. Honest enough to see where that is, where the cause of that is, and take practical action. So having seen what the problem is, I suggest that you give. Instead of looking to get, I suggest that you give. I suggest that you keep giving. I suggest that giving is the solution to every problem. At the same time, though, using your honesty and clarity to see where you want to take, where you want to get. So most people's problem, which I mentioned I was going to talk about, is due to expectation. In every situation, I expect to win. Everyone expects to win. And I teach my children to expect to win. And the reciprocal of expecting to win is a fear of failure. So my life consists of trying to win and fearing loss. You'll notice that's duality, that's as opposites. So the mind then, just like it does with the senses, inwardly in the subconscious, tries to equate trying to win and trying not to lose, trying to gain and not to be a failure. And so it jumps from one to the other, backwards and forwards. Enormous use of energy, enormous waste of energy. Because the truth is, we can't all win all the time. And we all have to fail some of the time. That's the truth. But the human mind and emotions can't face that. So we're always looking to win. And if we don't win, we're unhappy. Where did I go wrong? What happened? And start to emotionalize about it instead of looking to see what the fact is. So you'll notice the disjointedness that the human mind in the emotions goes. Winning and losing, taking, getting, taking, getting in every situation. Fear of failure. Guilt. Guilt is the inability to fail. That's self-reflection. Say I said to you, what can I do for you? Say you are my lover, my partner, my mother or my father. What can I do for you? What can I do for you, mother? Say I said to my lover, what can I do for you? Have you tried that? All the time. What can I do for you? When that person responds, I might say, yes, I will do that for you. Or I might say, no, I can't do that for you. Or if my mother said, I would like you to love me more, I would then say, yes, that's why I'm asking what I could do for you. How can I love you more, mother? Well, you might make a few more phone calls than you do. I say, no, mother, I can't do that. Because every time I phone you, you get unhappy, or you start talking about the past. So all I do when I phone you is make you unhappy. And I want to do something for you, not make you unhappy. So if you don't talk about the past, or if you don't get unhappy when I phone you, then I'll be able to phone you more often, because then I'll be doing something for you. You see, I can't do for someone. Everybody thinks when you want to do something for them that they're going to get. So if I ask you, what can I do for you? And you want to get from me, my brilliant intellect is likely to say, no. And then the mind might say, but you said. I'm saying no, because you want to get. And I'm here to give. And if you get something from me, it'll make you unhappy, I promise you. Whenever I get something, unless I look very closely at it, and I'm aware it will make me unhappy. For the law of life is to be free, I must give. And yet I don't give indiscriminately like people who want to get would ask me. No. So is that all right? You see, there's a built-in protection. But you cannot judge another. You only have to come from where you are yourself in your giving. For giving is a divine, is a godly thing. And because God is behind giving, there is a clarity behind right giving. Right giving is right doing. And that clarity is the protection of the innocence of giving, which is not afraid to fail. Is not afraid to say, no, I cannot give you that, without fearing its own apparent contradiction. But that requires clarity, doesn't it? A straightness, an ability to be me, to go towards that wonderful intellect, that pure intellect, which is inside the body listening to these words. That purifies the perception. That makes the human mind, which we all have to use out here, straight. It brings it into alignment with the divine straightness. And so you get a clarity that is wondrous in the midst of deception and dishonesty and wanting to get that does not understand. The freedom of just simple giving. All right, it's time for afternoon tea.